In the webinar that you're about to watch, we talk about BombBomb's video editing features. Now, editing can be a complex topic, so we do go over quickly the pros and cons of why you should think about editing and when are good situations for that. And then we spend a lot of time in the BombBomb app learning about our additional editing features and when we can use those, why we could use those, how to use those, so that you have a really good understanding of the additional features that BombBomb has to offer. Take a look.
It's gonna be a good day, a good vibe.
Good morning, everybody. I put some tunes on to welcome everybody to the webinar this morning. I feel like the right thing to do. It's spring. First day of spring was officially yesterday, so I found this fun song. It's called Good Day. And have a good day. It'll be a good webinar. I'm excited. Thanks for all for being here. We're so excited to jump into this and have you all here. So, you know, if you've been here before, I like to give it a minute or two. Let everybody kind of hop in here and get used to turn their sound on and getting their cameras and all that stuff set up. And we'll just kind of talk through and let everybody in and have some fun here. So let's do some of the housekeeping stuff while we're doing this. First and foremost, I realized over the last handful of months, I don't really introduce myself most of the time. So I just assume everybody knows who I am and that you've been here every month. My name's Kevin Andrews. I'm the Client Enablement Manager here at BombBomb. I've been at BombBomb for about 7.5 years. And so I've got a lot of experience. I've got almost 10,000 videos in my account. I've worked in sales. I've worked in CS. So a lot of experience in the platform, a lot of experience using it directly like a lot of you are, reaching out to people, building connections. So have a lot of experience to kind of bring on that. So I see the chat is already rolling. If you're in here, please hop in. Let us know where you're joining us from. Thank you, Beth Ellen, for the brooch. You know, I got to have a little flair there. I got to have a little something on the jacket, right? But I see some people from Spain, from Maine, from Virginia. That's amazing. Let us know where you're from. It's so fun to see kind of the wide reach of people that hop in here. Let me run through the Q&A. We already talked about chat. Most people know that at this point. If you've used Zoom before, you can use chat. So go ahead and do that and make sure that you're connecting everything there and getting everything set up. The other piece that I want to throw out there is the Q&A. That one is a little bit unique to the webinars specifically, is that, you know, you can actually put in a question. So if there's something where you're thinking, wow, this is a really important question I've got to ask, throw that in the Q&A, because that's a really, really good opportunity for that. So we've got amazing help this morning. I can't wait to introduce Macy and Justin. You probably see their names up there. Macy is one of our support reps. I think she's been at BombBomb for a little over a month now. So she's got some new, fresh, amazing energy. She's going to be here to answer a lot of questions that you might have. And then Justin has been here for years and years and years. He's one of our tier 2 reps. So just know that you've got support here. This is going to be a technical webinar. So for those of you that over the last few months have been like, love the ideas, love the strategies, I want to know more about features, I want to talk about the system, you're in the right place, because that's exactly what we're covering this month. So let me go ahead here and I'm going to share my screen and start working through some of these things and showing you some of these pieces. But that's what we're talking about. We're talking about some of the editing features. Now, I do want to give a little bit of a base here as we keep going through this. It may not be editing like you think editing is going to be. A lot of people think about editing and they start thinking about commercials and really fancy stuff and music in the background and all of these kind of more marketing type videos. We're not going to go fully into the deep levels of that, because if you've used BombBomb before, you know we really lean on just the human, authentic, real type videos. We have found those to be really, really powerful. So just a little caveat up front as we're working through this. Some of the editing will fit a little bit closer to that, what your assumptions may be, and some of the editing may not. So just hang tight. But I think all of you, regardless of your use, are going to learn something new and find a new feature here. So let's actually talk through this. And one other thing I'll throw out there, because I know we get this question a lot in our webinars, is this going to be recorded? I have to leave a little early. Is this going to be recorded? Absolutely. Yes, we are recording this. We will send you the recording follow-up here within the next few days. So just keep that in mind, that we will be sending something to you so that you can have access to that. Because I know we go over a lot of information on these. So I don't want you to get stressed and be like, oh, I missed it, or oh, I have to leave a few minutes early. Don't worry. We got you. We will send all this stuff your way. Okay. All right, so here's our agenda for today. And you know me, we're 4 minutes in. I like to jump in. I don't like to beat around the bush. I've been in webinars before where it's like 15 minutes in and you're like, we haven't even talked about anything. So let's just get rolling in this. I also think there's going to be a lot of questions in this. So there's going to be Q&A time at the end for the questions that you need. So first and foremost, we're going to talk about the pros and cons of editing, right? Of taking these extra steps with a video. Is it helpful? Is it not helpful? Unfortunately, the answer is yes and no, but we're going to talk about it. We're just going to have a quick kind of discussion about that. Then I'm going to show you our BombBomb video edit page. And that's where we're going to live for a lot of this webinar from a feature specific conversation, because all of these features are on the video edit page. So it's going to be really great. We're going to talk about the editing features. We're going to talk about how to navigate, how to find that page, how to read it, how to use it. And then I'm really excited because whether you've been with BombBomb, if you haven't been with us, this will not be a new feature because it's all new features. But if you've been with us for a while, you know we love to listen. We love to launch new stuff. And we've got a new feature that I'm going to announce today and also tease. We've got some more new things in the pipeline coming out in the next month or two here. So we've got some new exciting stuff to go with. So I am so excited that you're all here. Thanks for hopping in. Hop in the chat, have conversations. There's already some really awesome stuff here that you can have conversations, learn from the people that are talking around you. If you've got a question, throw it in the Q&A. We are recording. I'm going to repeat it again just so everybody knows that. But let's go ahead and jump in here and let's start talking about this. So when we think about editing, so a little bit of background context on me. I actually lived for 10 years in Los Angeles doing acting stuff. One of the plights of an actor is that there's never enough work. Nobody's giving you the work that you actually want. And so one of the things we always joked about as the starving actors out there, one, we're always working another job. You hear that joke about waiters and waitresses. Yeah, every actor's been working in some facet of that because we have to pay the bills and the acting jobs don't come as much. The other thing is we always get to a point where we're like, well, I'm going to create my own stuff. I'm just going to do my own thing. And that's really fun. But guess what? There's a lot of things you have to learn. So I've had to learn some editing pieces, and I've used all sorts of editing programs that are deep and complex. And for example, I'm using Adobe Premiere right now. It is an amazing platform that, holy cow, it is so complex. We don't want to lose people in that process. So when we've started thinking about editing here at BombBomb, we've wanted to make sure that we provide the most necessary elements for all of you to be able to use to be successful with your videos without getting lost in the, oh my gosh, I don't want to learn more stuff. I don't have time to learn more stuff. So let's look at these. Let's look at the pros and cons here. So first and foremost, enhanced storytelling, right? That's the beauty of having editing is you can add different elements. You can add music. You can add all these different things that add to the feel. You can also cut to different shots for different effects. Well, guess what? Most of us don't have the training to know what shot do I need at what time? How do I add this in? How do I mix that audio and do those things? But that is a pro, is that you can add elements that really enhance the value that you're trying to get across. It also brings more creativity. You can have a lot of fun with it. I've been learning Adobe After Effects where you can add different effects on the screen and do all sorts of different things with text and lettering. And again, really fun stuff. It takes a long time. So we've got this balance here that we're trying to find out. One of the things that I think is very interesting about this as well is increasing attention span. A question that we get a lot is how long should my videos be? How long can they be? Well, it's a complex answer because BombBomb can support very long videos. They can be up to a gigabyte in length, which is, we're talking 45 minutes. But how do you hold somebody's attention for 45 minutes? In an asynchronous video like you're sending through BombBomb, you won't. Never send somebody a 45-minute video. I promise you they will not watch it. So we lean to shorter, more real, more authentic videos. 60 seconds, right, is a good amount of time that you want to send because we can keep somebody's attention for about that long. When you are adding editing elements, when you're adding different things that grab attention, you can keep their attention span longer. So these are some of the benefits, and I'll show you some of the tools you can use within BombBomb to help with that. I also love this idea. A pro and a con is the time element of editing, right? So I have it on both sides of this list as we're talking about it. One, it can save you time in the long run if you're able to add some editing elements that allow you to reuse this video time and time again. There's ways to do that to create evergreen videos where you can actually reuse that and make some little slight adjustments to a bulk video and give you that ability to use it again. So that saves you time in the long run. The hard part is it takes longer now. If you're going to add these elements, instead of just record, stop, name, send, we are now adding extra steps to it. So this can be a hindrance for some people. So as we talk through this, I want you to know there is no general, you're always going to do this when we're talking about these features at BombBomb. Most of these editing features are going to be very specific use cases or specific situations that come up. Maybe I had a little flub and I need to fix that real quick. Or maybe I want to add, how do we start these next steps and have them move forward the way that we're hoping? These are all things that you can do that you're not going to do with every single video, but you are going to want to do them in specific situations. So just keep that in mind. This is not a do all of these features, add all of these pieces on every video. In fact, I would recommend don't add all of these features on every video. Use them very specifically, be really intentional with them. So you can see there, security is going to be a pro. We're going to show some of the security elements that you can add to a video in our video edit page. But then let's look at some of the cons. We talked about how it takes longer now, more tech. I've been discussing that as we've been talking through this. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot that we have to process through all of this. And then the last one that I want to spend a minute or two on here is the idea that it does affect perception. It changes how a video is perceived. So think about this. When you're, for those of us that actually watch live TV anymore, maybe it's a sporting event or something, what is the feeling that you get when a commercial comes on the TV? There's not a universal answer. You can throw it in chat here. Please throw some stuff in here if you want to. What do you think of when you see a commercial? I know for me, a commercial is a great time. Yeah, Melissa wrote annoying, ugh, irritated. Exactly. I love commercials. There we go. Bruce loves them. So we've got some on both sides of the panel here. But Robin, that's exactly where I go. I go to the fridge. That's a great moment for me to hop up and go do something else that I need to do. Is that the feeling we want people to have when they watch our video? Absolutely not. We do not want to irritate them. We don't want to annoy them. We don't want them to go, oh, this is a time I can run to the bathroom while this video plays. No, the reason we're sending this video is because we have something important to share with them. And the video gives us the ability to add the tone, add the empathy, add all of the nonverbal content that we need in there. So we want them to be there. So this is where some of the editing can start to become kind of an annoyance. It can start to feel like an advertisement. As soon as we feel like it's a commercial or advertised or overproduced, we tune out. We feel like this is not meant for me. This is not personal for me. This is a mass thing. In fact, there's a recent study that was done that I found very, very fascinating. If it's something that you want to read and review, we can definitely share that content with you. But essentially this company, this research company, and Andrew Oswald, who's the professor that ran this, they compared survey data of life satisfaction on more than 900,000 citizens in a bunch of different European countries. And they did this over a 30-year span. So they started to evaluate it. And what's interesting is they found that the more a company ramped up its, or a country, excuse me, ramped up its advertising and allowed for advertising within that company, life satisfaction rates dropped. How funny is that as a correlation? The more we're being marketed to and advertised to, the less satisfied we are. Now, there's a lot of complex reasons why. The more we see, the more we want, the more we don't have. You know, there's a lot of psychological things there. But I thought it was fascinating that says literally a 3% drop in life satisfaction. That's half as much as when somebody goes through a divorce. This is a big amount, right? 3% doesn't seem like a huge number, but they're starting to see that if you are marketed to too much, we're less happy. We don't want to have that feeling. So this is where we need to be really careful with how much we're editing, what we're adding to. And if you've ever received videos from myself or from somebody at BombBomb, you see, we don't really edit hardly at all. We do one take, we allow the mistakes, we allow the flubs. That humanity is what really keeps people in here. So it's really, really interesting to go, okay, it's important to know about these features, and that's exactly why we're talking about them today, is because I want you to know they're here for a reason. But do not lean on these and rely on these all the time, okay? That's going to be kind of our deal today, is that I want you to know that we need to be really intentional, really, really specific with these, because we don't want to be less relatable. We don't want to be less personal. We don't want to be this more, you can see I put professional in quotes there. It's this funny thing where we assume that there's this idea of professionalism that we have to amount to. What's ironic is if I asked all of you to throw in, you know, what is something you think is professional? What's a definition you define as professional? We're going to have a million different answers. There is no standard of this is professional. If you're in the finance industry, you're probably wearing a coat and a collared shirt all the time. If you're at a SaaS company like me, I don't wear a coat most days, right? There's different levels of professionalism depending on what we do, where we grew up, our culture, you know, those sort of things. So I wanted to just set that as a baseline for all of us so that we know kind of what we're talking about and the pros and cons of some of these different pieces. And also, maybe if you've asked yourself, why doesn't BombBomb have more of these things? Why don't they have advanced editing features? Here's a little bit of why. Is because we have found through so many studies that the more real it is, the more honest it is, the more authentic it is, the more people connect, the more they relate. And that's really what we're trying to do with this human-centered type of communication that we have here with video. Is it's all about getting you in front of the people that need to see you. They don't need to see an advertisement of you. They need to see you. You are that secret sauce. The video is not. We need to get you. The video is just a caveat to kind of get you there. So let's keep that in mind. So, okay, we've got a lot of time, which I'm really excited about. I wanted to keep this part of the webinar shorter because I wanted to spend more time in-app and start talking about some of these things. So where we're going to spend time, like I mentioned before, is our video edit page. So I'm going to go ahead and actually hop into my BombBomb account. and show you all where to find this content. Because a lot of times we go through this and we just forget, oh, shoot, there's a lot of you, I saw somebody in Q&A already say like, I've never been here. Um, that's okay. We're going to talk you through that. In fact, I'm looking right now at the Q&A Raymond just put in. It seems that BombBomb offers kind of essential editing pieces, not in Adobe Premiere. Exactly. That's exactly what I want you to take away from today. We are not going to be Adobe Premiere. We are never going to try to be Adobe Premiere. They are good at that. We're going to let them be good at that. We want to help the people that don't need to learn all of that and get lost in those weeds, have a couple of the smaller tools that they need to be successful. So Raymond, that's exactly. Thanks for throwing that in QA. All right, so I'm in my account here. Now my account might look a little different than yours just because I've got lots of tabs here that you might not have. That's okay. I've got lots of things that are old tabs that don't even exist anymore. I've got added features. I've got a lot. Don't get stressed about that. What I want you to see is I'm on the videos tab. All of you, no matter what membership level, have a videos tab. And this is your video library where it hosts all of your content, all of your videos, everything that's in here. You can see here, I've got 9,987 videos. I'm almost to that 10K one, right? So we wanted to show you this is what it's going to look like. Now, of course, the more videos you have, it'll look a little different and not. But how do we get to the video edit page? Well, what I want to show you is if you grab any of the videos here, we have this little pencil icon on the right. When I hover over it, it says edit video. That's going to take you into the edit video. Now, I actually pulled aside a couple of videos here just that'll be better examples for what I'm talking with you about today. But let's go ahead and click the edit video on this video, and it's going to take us into this edit page. And we're going to work through one by one, talking about what are these different pieces. And then at the end, we're going to go through some pros and cons, some things to think about as you're working through each of these. So once we get into the edit video page, there's a lot of different elements. And the one I chose, of course, has a lot of activity on it because it's something I've used a ton. But you're going to be able to see a preview of your video here. You've got your video name. So you've got that, typed in up here, which we can talk a lot about video naming if that's something that you guys are curious about. And what I want to start with first and foremost is this section up here. These are your delivery options, right? So if you've ever used BombBomb before, we give you really two main options. One's the copy for email. One is the copy link. Now, the copy for email is going to be if I'm sending this through an email provider, a Google, an Outlook, a Yahoo, one of them. They actually use different coding on the back end of their messaging that allows you to bring in this animated preview. So that's great. If you're sending it through an email, use the copy for email button. That will bring in this animated preview. And we know that when that's in an email, you will get more video plays. I saw somebody a little bit earlier on that said, I'm not getting my videos played as much as possible. This is a really good first step to consider. How am I delivering those? How am I sending those? Am I sending them through email where I can guarantee the preview? Or am I using the copy link? Now, the copy link is great if I want to send it in different ways. This gives you a ton of flexibility because there's a lot of systems out there that don't support this HTML coding, this backend coding that the email providers provide for us, right? So the copy link is amazing to send through social media, to send through text message if you need to send through those. Now, the downside of it is that copy link does not guarantee the preview. That depends on the system that you're sending it through. For example, if I copy that link into LinkedIn, it does actually show a little preview if I'm connected with that person. If I send it through a text message and I've never texted this person before, it's not going to show the preview. So there's a lot of pieces there with that copy link. It gives you that flexibility, but you also have to understand I need to add words, I need to add verbiage to direct people and let them know why this link is important to watch, that it's safe to watch, all of that sort of content. So keep that in mind. We do have the copy for email, copy link. We do also have a template option if you have one of the higher level memberships where we have our email composer where you can build templating that goes around your video. If you want to do that, that will take you into there. But I also want to show you some of these. These are going to be a little bit more fringe, but I think it's important for you guys to know what's capable and what's there just to get the wheels turning, get the light bulb going above your head, right? So the first few options here are add to favorites, add to folder. Now, these are more for organization. I told you I had actually organized a couple of these videos because I wanted to be able to pull them for examples like this. I created a folder and was able to add this video to it. So you can do that if you're using a video over and over again and you need to organize it so you know where it's sent to. So those are a couple of those options. But we also have an embed option, a duplicate option, a download option. I have had a lot of people who have recorded one video, they duplicate it, change up a little piece of it, and then can send that to somebody else. Now, the caveat here, the reason that's an important piece is if I send this video to, we'll say to Justin, right? I've sent that to him. A week later, I go, man, that video would be really good for Macy, but I want to personalize a little element of it. If I go change that on this video, it's going to change it for Justin. because we're still changing that live link that I sent to him a week ago. That's why the duplicate can potentially be helpful. And I'll talk a little bit more about this when we get into one of the features specifically, but know that that option's here. Embedding is if you want to put a video on your website. You want the video to actually play. In fact, I've got an example of what that looks like here. This is BombBomb Studios that I'll talk about in a little bit. But this video is embedded on the site. So it's literally on here where people can see it right away. So here's just an example of what that looks like. If you ever wanted to put a BombBomb video onto your website, great. We give you those elements here on the video edit page with the embed option right here. Now, again, one caveat, because I'd like to try to just give you the best explanation that I can on this. If you ever close your BombBomb account, be aware that video will not be viewable on your website anymore. So these are things to think about as you're thinking about how I do this. The last thing I wanted to show you here was the download option. Sometimes people need to just have it on their device. Oh, I want to use that somewhere else. I want to upload it into a different system. Great. If you've recorded a video in BombBomb, you can always download it out. It'll put that file on your computer, and you can use that file however you want to. So ultimately, what I want you to see from this part, you can send a video in any place, any way you want, through any system. There's a million different things that you can use to find a lot of that content. So just know that all of those options are up here at the top. The other quick overview before we get into more of the features that I want to show you here is on the video edit page, we have a lot of the tracking content. For those of you that are newer to BombBomb, we have multiple layers of tracking. Some is email tracking. This is more of our video tracking. And you can see here, we can show you how many times this video has been played, what percentage has been watched of that video, how many likes you get, how many comments we got, how many video replies we got. These are all things that people can do to interact with your video. One of the things that I say constantly is the goal of using BombBomb is not to just send a video. That feels good, but that's not the win. That didn't actually make us any more business. The goal is creating conversations. So we need to make sure that when we're sending videos, we're giving them reasons to start conversations. We're giving them ways to interact and tell us, I want more. I want to learn more about this. That's exactly what these different things are. And these are all can be built on your video page. So I can show you an example of what the video page looks like. And this is just mine that's been built. So you'll see more BombBomb stuff than what you would see if you make it. But you can put your logo up here. You can put CTAs. Here's where they can like and reply with video and comment, all of that. That can all be built with your video page in your account. So this is how they interact with those pieces. So what are we seeing here? And I just wanted to show you kind of a glimpse of what this looks like. I can see the person, what the date was, what percentage of that video watched, and then what reactions did they have to it? Did they like it? I'm pretty sure I actually have an example of a comment down here. So if they leave a comment, they can actually put that in there. Now, one of the questions we do get a lot on this as well is, what does it mean if it says someone? Why does it say someone versus this one actually says the person's email address? Well, the reason this one says the email address is because they left a comment and they put that email address in. When you're sending a video not directly out of BombBomb, we cannot necessarily track the exact person that's watching it. So if you share it on social media, we have a little chip that will show you it's been watched and will show you it's been played, but we can't necessarily tell. We don't have access to who exactly played that. So if you're doing one-to-one videos, it's not a big deal. You know who you sent it to, you know who's watching it. This example I've sent to hundreds and hundreds of people. It's an evergreen video that I use. So that gets a little bit more complicated. If I'm wanting something from them, I have to make sure that I'm engaging and asking them to put their names in. So I just wanted to give you an example of what these things mean. The video plays, the percentage watched. You can see each individual person. This is our average of every play. So of the 514 plays, it's averaging 77% watched. Now, why is that beneficial for you to know? Well, really briefly, it's really important because I have to think about what's in that video. When is my CTA in this? What am I asking them to do? In this video, I'm not really asking them anything. It was a thank you for attending something that they went to. So I'm not as worried about it. But if I've got a call to action that's at the very end of my video and most of the people are not getting that far, I need to know that. No wonder they're not following through because they're not even making it to the part of the video where I asked them to follow through with that and do what I asked, follow through on that CTA. So these are the ways that you can use some of the tracking to really engage all of that content. Let me take a second here before I jump into the specific features. I know Justin and Macy are killing the Q&A and the chats and things, but I want to make sure I'm not missing some stuff. So I'm going to look at the Q&As real quick. What's the difference between a download file and an embedded file? Dennis, great question. So download is you're downloading onto your device, onto your actual computer that you are accessing BombBomb on in that moment. Embedded means it's still hosted in BombBomb, but we're giving you the coding that's needed for that video to be able to put on the back end of your website. So we're still hosting that video for you. You're essentially just using coding to put it so that it shows up visibly and it's not just a link. So that's kind of a basic difference. There's a lot of terminology and things underneath that. If you're ever looking to embed, I would highly encourage getting an IT person to help you with that, because you do need access to the back end of your website and some of those things to be able to do that. So great question, Dennis. Robin, so once I download this, BombBomb still owns the video, or only if I use the embed link? Again, it's a great question kind of on this topic. Once it's downloaded out, that video is on your computer, it's yours. You own these videos from the get-go. We don't own any of these videos. In fact, we are really, really tight on what we're allowed to do with your videos. We will never use one of your videos for a BombBomb perspective unless we ask your permission and you say, yes, that's totally fine that you use that video. So from an ownership perspective, you own all of these videos. We will never use them without your permission. When you download it out, now it's literally a file on your computer, just like a Word doc, just like an Excel file, just like any other file or a picture that you have saved. That video is now saved as that file, and you can upload it and use it however you want to. Now, if you use the embed link, like I just described for Dennis there, it is still hosted on BombBomb, and the embed coding is what allows you to put that on your website. So great questions. These are awesome. Thanks for asking all of these. Where did you get to the video editing to brand your landing page? I'll show you this real quick. This isn't as quite as I know I directed towards that. So I'm happy to answer that, Lori. Thank you for asking. The easiest way to get to your video page is to click on your name in the top right, where we have this drop down come out. And then we're going to click on settings here. And what's great is that actually takes you directly to the video page editor in your account. So you'll see you'll have a menu of different things that you can change. You can pick the color that you want to represent. You can pick all sorts of stuff. So here's what your video page will look like. If you've never done this before, that preview is pretty empty and blank, because you actually have to go through and turn some of these pieces on, but you can see it actually changes it as I do it. You can upload your logo, change your color, add stuff to your header. You can do all sorts of stuff. So if you want to adjust your video page, literally clicking there and going to settings will take you to that option there. So great question. Highly recommend spending some time on that, because it's a fun way to really personalize and add to the experience people are getting when they watch your videos. All right, so let's jump in. If you've got more Q&As, again, continue to throw those in there. I just want to make sure we get through all of this, and then I promise you I'll stick around as long as we need to answer as many questions as we can at the end of this. But let's start talking about these specific features. I've been seeing some chats and things about call to action and some options around there. So let's really talk about this, because this is, I think, one of my favorite features when it comes to a thing you can edit or add to a video. I think we all know what a call to action is. Essentially, it's an easy access button for somebody to be able to follow through with what we're asking them to do, right? If you want to add a call to action to your video, you can literally open this up. We're going to toggle this on, and we only have to fill out two options of what we want. One is, what is the title that we want on this button? And second, what is the link that we want that to go to? So we'll go ahead and just type an example in here. I'm just going to grab an example of this video, which would not be the way I would do it, but to put a link in, copy and paste any link in there. And then let's go ahead and click that save call to action. That's it. Now, what exactly does that do? Well, let's go ahead. I'm going to close this and I'm going to preview this again now that we've added the CTA. What this does, and I'm going to mute this so you don't hear me talking twice, is this is going to add a call to action button that is going to pop up 5 seconds into our video right here in the top corner. So whatever verbiage you type out as the words for that are what are going to show up on the button itself. Now, the color is what we set up in our video page a second ago that I just showed you about. So if you go in and change to your brand color, that's the color that this call to action button will pop up here. So literally, when we went in and built this, I typed click here, and then I pasted the link of where that button goes. What's amazing about this is now when somebody's watching your video, they can actually click on that button and it will direct them to the link that you pasted in. This is an amazing strategy for how do I get people to that next step? How do I make sure, when we were talking about tracking earlier, if they're only watching 77% of my video, how do I make sure that they still know what I'm asking them to do? Well, now they can't miss it because it's visually there in the video itself, and it shows up 5 seconds into your video. So this is a really, really amazing tool. We know how important it is when you're building an email, when you're trying to get engagement, if you're working in sales, if you're working in marketing. we look at what is our engagement, what are our link clicks as a really big sign of, is somebody interested in this? Are they interested in looking further into this? Now we have it built directly into the video. So even if I text it through social media, even if I send it however I want to, they will know exactly what I'm asking them to do. In my personal opinion, of our video editing feature, this is about as good as it gets because it's really, really effective. Now, there are some best practices, so let's talk through that. How do we use this to our advantage? Here's some things that I really want you to think about when you are building your CTAs on your video itself. Whoa, I just scrolled way past all of the slides that I wanted. First and foremost, when we're thinking about the verbiage that we're putting on the button, we need to keep it short. Our system at BombBomb only allows it to be up to 30 characters. The reason being is we don't want a button that all of a sudden is covering half of your face as you're talking, right? Depending on where you're positioned in your video itself. Also, we don't need a sentence. We want just a quick little snippet so they know what they need to do with that button and why it's showing up there. The concise is it makes you be much more clear in what they're going to expect, why they're going to look at it. Now, when we start thinking about what to put on there, best practices with call to actions, the number one thing is an action verb. Always put an action verb. I recently read through a study about call to actions, and get was the most popular as far as looking at all marketing emails. So get was the number one action verb that people would put, that companies would put in their emails. Some other ones that I use a lot are things like click, go, start, view. Like the example that I use when I put it on. Click here, view this, go here for my website. Whatever it may be. That one was even a little bit long, but we want to put something there so they know that this is asking them to do some action, putting something on there. In fact, I've even used something like, I put some support content on some of my videos because that's what I'm working on a lot. So if I'm speaking about a specific feature, I'll put want more info, ? And that's a question. It's going to grab their energy. It's going to grab their attention as they put that in. So make sure you use an action verb on these. The color you select, we talked about this, comes from your video page. So if you need to adjust that, mine's orange because that's one of BombBomb's colors. You can make it whatever you want to. If you work for Remax, make it a beautiful red color. If you work for Meta, make it that, your blue color that you guys use. Use whatever you need to plug that in. The link, this is a really good best practice. You saw when I was building it myself that I copy and pasted the link in there. In theory, BombBomb's always going to add the stuff you don't see to the link itself. But with any URL, there are all sorts of different things right now that will mask and make the URL look much shorter than the actual URL is. I don't want you to type in that link and then have it not actually go to where you want it to go to. It's a really fine line between, wow, this made it really easy for my client to get somewhere, and now I've created a bad experience. So keep that in mind as you're working through this. Always go to the link that you want them to go to, copy that, paste it in here, and save it. It's just a best practice to make sure that you don't run into any of those hiccups as you're working through it. The video itself. So I think this is an important thing too. As we've added this feature here, how do we actually get better engagement on that? What do we do in the video to increase engagement? Well, there's a lot of things that you can do, but first and foremost, you need to think about, what is the link? Am I going to put a CTA in this video or not? If I am, I need to be aware of that before I record. Why? Because we can do all sorts of stuff. One, we can mention it. We can speak to the CTA button in the video. Hey, it's Kevin here with BombBomb. I was reaching out because I would love to schedule some time with you. Take a look. There's going to be a button that pops up in the top corner here that I would love for you to access because it'll take you straight to my calendar. We'll make it really easy for you. Talk about it. We're not trying to be tricky. We're not trying to hide anything from anyone. Make sure that they know why that link is there, right? Also, point to it. Use your fingers. I do this constantly, right? Hey, there's a button that pops up right here. Sometimes with mirroring videos, I do it on the wrong side and then I have to switch hands. But you know what? People love that stuff. People love the realness and the mistakes, and have some fun with it. But motion to it. Talk to it in the video. I guarantee doing those things will really help them understand, why did that button just show up in the video? Because I want you to go to it. So make sure you do that. And then the last thing that you really need to be conscious of, and I mentioned this a second ago, is video length. The button will not pop up with a video that's any shorter than 5 seconds. So you've got to make sure that the video is long enough that it will show up. I don't know how you have a video that's less than 5 seconds, but just be aware of that. If you record a test video to play with this and it's only 3 seconds long and you add it, you'll never see it because it doesn't pop up for those first couple of seconds. So Just keep that in mind as we're going through that. Some great questions here that I'm seeing in the Q&A. Will this be recorded? Absolutely, Raj. It will be recorded, and we will go ahead and send that to you. How can I get the record button right in my new emails if I use Outlook? Thanks. I know Justin and Macy will work through some of those specific things for you guys. One question, and this is actually a really good question that I may actually have to ask Justin to throw something in chat about. Tracy, can we attach an Excel or a PDF instead of a link on the CTA? I believe there's a way to do it, but I do think you actually have to take that file and have it uploaded to somewhere that's got a link attached to it. So for example, there's not a spot where you can click upload on the CTA button and just upload a file to it. I do believe you're going to have to host that somewhere like a Google Drive or somewhere in there, and then you can pull that link into the CTA. So it could get you to the same result, but it would add that extra step there. So Justin, if that's wrong, or Macy, if that's wrong, please correct me on that. But I believe that's going to be the easiest way to do that. I've also got to give a little shout out because I just looked down and I saw a wonderful human by the name of Harley J just threw something in about Google Drive. Harley J and I used to live in Los Angeles together. He's become a realtor out in San Diego. Now he's using BombBomb. It's so good to see you here, buddy. I'm so thrilled that you're on this. If anybody needs a realtor in San Diego, check him out. He's awesome. All right, let's keep rolling. So next feature that I wanted to talk about below the CTA is the thumbnail feature. Now, this is going to be one that I'm going to waffle on a little bit. My general rule of thumb, and you can see here when I open this up, is that we automatically create this animated preview for you. Where does this come from? It's the first 3 seconds of the video that you recorded. So when you record a video on BombBomb, you get 3, 2, 1, flash, and then it starts recording. That first 3 seconds after the recording starts is exactly where this animated preview is coming from. So I always make sure that I'm waving and smiling and doing something at the beginning of my video so I've got an engaging motion that will show up in the email. 99% of the time, do not change this. Don't go in, edit it. Don't take it away. Don't change it. Why? The animated preview will get you more video plays. If you are somebody that's struggling with video plays, you have to keep this. This is one of the biggest differences we saw. When we did A/B testing, we saw 8 to 10% increases in video plays just by having this. Exact same video, exactly the same. Instead of a stagnant picture, we had this, it increased the video plays. So most of the time, keep that there. However, we do have an option where you can come change that to a static image. And you can see we have an upload option if you want to just change the picture and upload it off your device, or you can actually take a photo where it will pull up your live camera. You can smile and take a picture there. The only reason that I would use this feature specifically is if I'm trying to reuse an evergreen video and I want to personalize the image that shows up in the email. So for example, I've done this, I send it to Justin, and then I want to send it to Macy a week later, right? But I want that image to show, hi, Macy. Maybe I want to hold something up where I write Macy's name on my phone or on a whiteboard and I hold that up at the beginning. I can come in here, take that picture with me saying, hi, Macy, and that will be the image that will replace that animated preview. So that's what shows up in the email, but then it still goes to the other video. So I could duplicate the video, take the new image, and now I have that new piece to add in there. That is really the only use case I have heard that is a reason I would do this, unless I'm just having fun. If I want to put a silly picture just to try something new out, of course, you know your business, you know why you're using this, you can play with those things. But that's the number one thing. I've got an evergreen video that I'm sending to different people. I can come reuse this video, duplicate it through those 3 dots at the top, retake a new thumbnail, and now it's personalized image in there. It will not move, it will not be animated, but it'll be a thumbnail in there. So hopefully that makes sense of those options, why you would maybe choose one or the other. Let's look through some of the best practices. I already kind of talked through a lot of these. Again, 99% of the time, don't mess with this. Keep the animated preview. But if you want to use a static image, be strategic. Personalize the image for the evergreen video that I talked to. And the personalizing is a big piece of this. You can see in this animated preview, this is a wonderful old employee of ours, Devin, who is just awesome. And she actually would hold the whiteboard up at the beginning of the video and personalize it because she was re-recording new videos for each person. But you can do that. Use a whiteboard, or like I mentioned with my phone, let me see if I can grab this app real quick. There are apps on your phone, and I have them written on this, the Make It Big on your iPhone, or there's the large text one on Android. And these are really, really cool because I can come here and write something and hold it up, and I just have it on my phone, right? And BombBomb's not going to mirror it. They will be able to read it when they read it. I actually have this one on. This is a funny story because I replied with a video to somebody, and after I sent the video, I realized I thought his name was Paul. I called him Paul the entire video. And then, of course, after I sent the video, I look and I'm like, oh, your name is Raul. It's not Paul. So I sent him this and was just like, I'm so sorry. I mispronounced your name that entire time. I should have taken the extra second to look at it. But it's a really good one. So these are not the end all be all apps that you have to use, but these are ones that we have used in-house that have worked really well. Again, you could take the thumbnail with that, or you can hold that up at the beginning of your video. And an example of how I would do that if I want it to be animated, and I am personalizing this, is I would hold it up here and we'll say the flash happens. Hey, Raul, it's Kevin here with BombBomb. Hey, I had to send another video to apologize because blah, 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 blah. So you just hold it up for that first second or two, set it down while you keep talking. You don't need to hold it there the entire video, but now it'll show up at the beginning. Again, these are things to increase your video plays. So keep a lot of that in context as you're looking through all of this. All right, we're going to keep cruising because we got 20 minutes left, and I want to make sure that I continue to have time to answer Q&As at the end of this as we keep going. But these are some really fun features that are really, really helpful. The third one I want to talk about here, I'm going to skip trimming for a second. We'll come back to that one, is video security. Video security is one that actually really came out of us listening to you all and going, I'm having certain situations where I need to make sure this video doesn't get in the wrong hands. It has information in it. It's sensitive enough where I need to make sure, shoot, that link doesn't get shared. And now all of a sudden everybody can watch it and see something for whatever reason it may be. I will say this has been, the request came much more specifically to certain industries that may have to send more sensitive information than others, but it's applicable for lots of different situations. So what are your options here? Well, the first and foremost, link and email. Anybody with this link can view it. So this is just the standard setting. If I send a link to any of you, you can watch that video, you can share it with your friends, you can do whatever you want to. I'm not worried about it because most of the time people are not going to, unless when I was a salesperson, I would send stuff and I would all of a sudden see a video get 1 play, 2 plays, 3 plays, 5 plays, 10 plays. I knew that person was either impressed or curious enough they were sending it to other people in their company. That was a good thing for me as a salesperson. So I didn't want to gatekeep that. I wanted to make sure they had the ability to watch that. The second option here is lock video. And I think this is a really interesting one. There have been a few times in my 10,000 videos that I've sent out where I sent a video and then all of a sudden went, oh, shoot, I don't know if I gave them the right info. I don't know if I said the right thing. If I jump into my BombBomb account and delete that video, now guess what? They can't watch that video on their end, but that video is also gone. I will never be able to get that video back because I deleted it from my account altogether. This lock video button allows me to turn this video off momentarily for a period of time. I can always come back and turn it back on, but it would give me that opportunity to go, shoot, I need to go talk to a few people and make sure that information was correct or that was okay to say to this person. And then I can come, once I feel good about it, turn it back on, and their experience is no different. So it's a great way if you're ever, oh, shoot, I don't know if I should have said that. I may have misspoke, but I've already sent the video, to come in, lock it, not delete it altogether, because it may still be really effective depending on what that situation is. So you have that option here. Now, the two that you're probably going to use the most are, one is password protection, and the other is adding an expiration date. And you can actually add both of those onto a video if you want to, but let's talk about one. They're pretty straightforward. But one is essentially saying only people with a password can view your video. They'll click on the link, it'll take them to a little page where they'll have to put a password in. Once they put that in, then they can watch that video itself. Now you can see BombBomb automatically puts one of these really fancy, sharp, incredibly confusing alphabet soup passwords in here, but it is a very safe password. So we automatically do that. You can re-highlight that and change that to whatever you want to, right? I don't recommend using password 1 ever, but as an example. So you can do that and then click the update button and it will automatically save that. Now I'm going to talk you through some best practices on how, if you're going to use a password, how to do that well so that it does maintain its safety. But essentially they would have to have the link that was sent to them and they would have to know the password to be able to watch the video. It adds that extra level of security and privacy there. The last piece here is the expiration one is I can add a date where this video is no longer viewable. Essentially, at this date, it locks the video. It turns the video off for anybody. Now, why would I want to do that? Well, one of the best use cases that I've heard is from people who are sending out contracts and they're trying to work through a deal, but there's a set timeline on this deal. Or maybe if you're in real estate, I have a closing date. or I have a contract acceptance date that I have to have it accepted and approved by this time. If not, this contract's gone. I will have some agents and some people who will set up their video to expire with the expiration date, with the contract date that we have. What's great about that is you don't have a client that hops in a week later and is like, oh man, I want to take that deal now. You're like, well, sorry, that deal expired a week ago. We can't do it anymore. Or if you're a salesperson and you have a promo that's running, right? You can have this video that expires at a certain time because you don't want people calling up a week later and be like, hey, can I get that promo that ended last week? Or I want that promo still. It's opening up difficult, annoying conversations that we don't want to have if we don't have to do it. So you can set it to expire. So if they do show up a week later and click play, they will not be able to watch that video at that time. They may reach out to you and still start conversations, but at least you're not setting yourself up for failure at that time. So you can see all of these are just different ways to add security and privacy to your video itself. So let's look at some best practices and some things to think about with each of these. Password. One of the best practices when we're talking about a password is send the password in a separate email. It doesn't make sense to password protect a video and then send the link and the password in the same email. Guess what that recipient can do? Just forward that email on to whoever they want to, and now they have both elements. It's not very safe. It kind of goes, what's the point of that? So make sure, I know it's another added step, but it's much more safe. If you have sensitive information, send the video and then follow up really quickly with another email that has the password for that video in it. And give your people a heads up that their password will be coming. So just really good best practice there. Second thing, don't use a personal password. I know there's a tendency, and I'm guilty of this too, of I'm never going to remember all these passwords for these videos. I'm just going to use the same thing over and over and over. That's fine. Do whatever you want to in your personal life. You don't want to share your bank account password with somebody that's watching a video. Will they ever try to log into your bank? I hope not. But do we want to open that up? Absolutely not. It's not worth it. So don't use personal passwords. In fact, make something up that is connective to the situation that you are in. So I threw just a couple of examples here. If you're a realtor, put the address of the home that you guys are talking about or that the video is covering, right? 831 Main. There you go. That's an easy password both of us can remember because it's associated with the business that we are doing. Maybe I'm just working with a client named Cindy. So I put my name, her name, and then a number. You can do anything like that, but find something that's connective between you and the interaction that's going on and make that as the password. That way it's much easier to remember because it can get annoying if they accidentally delete that password email and now they can't get it and now they're trying to watch it. And again, this is not something you're going to put on every video. Do not put a password on every video. Be very strategic and intentional when you do, but it's amazing to be able to do if there is some more sensitive information in there. The expiration date, we kind of talked about this, but line it up with the real life event. Time it out so it's not like, oh, we have our closing date and then all of a sudden this expires 2 days later. That doesn't necessarily do us any good. Make sure you just line those up. It just makes everything really clean, really concise, and works really well. And we already talked about the video log. If you don't want to delete that video or if you need to pause any of the viewability on those pieces themselves. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of a break. Again, I know Justin and Macy are flying through these Q&As. Thank you all. Keep throwing your stuff in here. I just want to make sure that I'm double checking these. Is there a list of CTAs you can use? Neil, that's a great question. I don't directly have a CTA list that I have built out, but I know and promise if you go to Google and type in possible CTAs or what to write on my CTA, there are a lot of articles out there. I've learned a lot by exploring and checking those sort of things out. If you're trying to figure it out on your own, I would start with that action verb first. And then go, okay, how do I build some excitement? How do I build some energy in this? How do I build some curiosity in this? And just kind of use that for that sort of thing. So great question. Thank you for asking that. I'm just scanning real fast. So if you have a question in here that I miss, I want to make sure I don't miss it. But a real quick one, downloading on my desktop is a piece of cake. Downloading to my phone, I can't find on the phone the one I did yesterday. That's a great question, Garland. And it probably depends on what type of phone you have, where it's going to save it. I know iPhones traditionally have been a little funky as far as where they will save files on your phone. So we might need to kind of figure that out. I don't know that I have the direct answer for that. But yeah, downloading on your computer, that's where I've done it more. Most of the time, I'm not downloading stuff onto my phone itself. But we may have to ask that. Justin or Macy, if either of you have any context to that of where it would download if you do download it on your phone, throw that in there, throw that in the chat so that Garland can see that. But that's a great point. So Robin asks, what does the recipient see if you lock the video? That's a great question. So essentially they'll get a little heads up on there when they click on it that just says this video is no longer viewable for them. So they may hit you up and go, hey, I tried to watch that video, but it won't work for me. And then you can have a discussion about that. So they will still see the preview in the email, either that thumbnail or the animated preview. And then when they click on it, it will take them to that screen there. So awesome. Okay. So I just wanted to answer a few of those, kind of cover some of that stuff. Let's jump into the last thing that I want to cover here, the biggest thing. And this is the one that I think I'm the most excited to talk about. It's our trimming. Now, for those of you that have been here for a while, we have had a trimming feature where you could trim the beginning couple seconds or however long and the end off of a video. And it was really nice. There's always funny situations where you finish a video, it's a great video, and you're like, okay, great, thanks, bye. And you hit your space bar, because that is one of the tricks where you can stop your video by hitting your space bar on your computer, but you don't forget that you clicked on another window. So now the space bar is doing something else. I had one the other day where I actually clicked on Spotify while I was recording a video for somebody. I hit space bar, it started playing a song at the end of my video. And I was like, oh, that's not what I meant to do. Shoot, sorry. And then I'm stopping the video, trying to stop my music. The whole thing happened. Well, our trimming allows you the opportunity to go, you know what, maybe I didn't want them to see that. I can go in and trim the end of the video off. And that is existing in all of your accounts right now. You can cut seconds off the beginning, cut seconds off the end. Well, I'm really excited to show you, you are the first people to see this, that we are actually adding to our trimming feature. And what this is going to allow you to do is actually trim the middle segments of videos. So when we talk about traditional editing, this is much closer to it. So let's say you record a great video, you flub a little bit in the middle, you mix up this, and then you correct yourself and you fix it and you want to go in and change that. You can actually come in here and move this to wherever you want to, and we have this split at button. I can go ahead and split it right here. I can maybe find the end of where I wanted to actually start again. I can split it again at that point, and then I can come in and select this and delete that selection out completely. Now my video will go from this section. Let's see if I can just play it here so you can see. We know that BombBomb and video, more importantly, is going to make a huge difference so that you can start using video moving forward. So you can see it literally just jumps over that period of time that I just cut out. This is really, really fun and is opening up a whole realm of editing and content and things you can do with your videos in BombBomb that we've never had before. Again, we've purposefully made decisions to not have a lot of editing in here, but we've heard you enough, and so many of you have given us input that I really want that. I've had times where that would be really helpful, and I want to use it. And now you can come in and do that. You can still trim off. You can click and drag and cut off the beginning. You can, oh, I didn't get it exactly right. I'll drag a little bit right here, right? You can play with this. You can even cut out a whole other section. Oops, I didn't mean to do that whole big section. But you can do whatever you need to on this video to adjust it and make sure that it works right. Then when you come up and click save, it allows you to save this as a new video, or you can delete the original video altogether. So if I click save here, you can see it says name your new video. It will put in new video with the existing title that's there. You can choose to delete the original and save it, or you can do neither of those things. So I do want to give you a caveat. This is one of those things that I'm so excited to announce. It will be coming very soon for all of you. You probably don't see it in your accounts quite yet. We do have the trimming, but it's the traditional front and back end of this. This is what's coming in the future. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to return to the video itself because I don't actually want to save the changes that I just made. So I'm going to cancel the edits that I made. But this gives you the ability to now go into the middle of videos and edit out certain chunks. For those of you that don't want to learn a full editing program, but need to be able to make some edits and make some changes and things like that, you are now going to have that very, very soon. So I don't have an exact launch date, but it is coming within weeks is what we're talking about here. So it is very, very exciting, especially for all of you. Again, you're the first people to learn about any of this, know this is in the pipe work, know this is coming, and I'm excited. Again, just so you know where to get to that, if you open up the trimming option here, you'll click trim video, which again is a feature that you have now, but it will soon be changing to this functionality where you'll have the split at, delete selection, those sort of pieces in the middle of your videos. So this opens up so many different things. Really, the goal of this and the reason that we have this is to save you time. I don't want you going in and chopping up a video for no reason. Again, I cannot emphasize enough that the realness, the humanity, the mistakes in a video are potentially the most connective parts of that video. We want to see real people. We want to work with real people. And when we hear the ums, we hear the likes, we see somebody lose their train of thought, we see somebody come back. Those are the things that feel so human and authentic and connective. And that's what people want to see. Please do not use these features to go cut out any of these little imperfections throughout your video. If you have a moment where you're like, I just nailed the first 45 seconds of this, I lost my train of thought, I need to come find it. Okay, now I can come back and continue. And then you want to cut out that 5 seconds where you had to catch your train of thought again. That's a perfect example of a use case for this. I also want you to know I've done that a lot of times where I'm like, shoot, what was I talking about? Oh, that's right. And I leave it in the video and people love it. So again, I'm so hesitant to over promote these because I don't want people to think I need to go in and edit every video. Do not edit every video. But if you have little things where you're sitting there going, I'm not going to send that video out as is, it's the exact time where you need to go in and use these trimming features here. So just some quick overviews, and then I see a lot of questions coming in, which I'm excited to spend some time on here. It's great for the awkward few seconds at the beginning. If you can't find that stop button at the end, those are great beginning end things. That's what you currently have exactly in all of your accounts. The middle, if you just need to cut out a quick bad section or something like that, don't try and trim out likes, filler words, those things. They're okay. But if you've got a chunk where you're like, oh, shoot, I really screwed that up, and then I restarted and caught myself and the rest of the video was good, you can cut that section out. One of the things I showed you where you can click and drag, that's a really good thing. Don't try to make a tiny little cut and delete that. I've noticed that that's made it really hard for me to get all of those and have it saved the correct way. So that's where the dragging the end of the segments is a really, really helpful piece. If I cut it, but I didn't get it exactly right, then I can just trim that little bit that I need to. And again, we just talked about this. Be really intentional. Why am I doing this? What's making me want to trim? We know, and this is a teaser that I'll tell you in just a second here, that there can be nervousness about being on camera. That's okay. There is uncomfortability of a lot of people that you didn't get into real estate, you didn't get into sales because you wanted to be on video all of the time. We understand that. And yet we also know video is really impactful, really powerful in so many ways, the way of the future when it comes to communicating online. So how do you find that balance? If you can trim a little bit, if you can edit a little bit, and it will add to your confidence and it will allow you to send a video you may not have otherwise sent, that's exactly the reason to use some of these features. All right. So let me jump in here and I want to cover kind of the last little pieces. I want you to have some fun with it. Here's an example of just a video that I played with when I got this new trimming feature, when I got the kind of beta of it. Have some fun, play around with it, enjoy it. Here's a silly, goofy video that I made just using the trimming in BombBomb. See if I can magically take these and put them on my face. 1, 2, 3. Whoa, it worked. How cool. I wonder if I could do that with my collar too. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Oh, pretty cool. So it's ridiculous. I'm not going to send that to clients. I'm not going to do those things, but it was kind of a fun way for me to just play with it and explore it and those sort of things. So have some fun with it. I know my video editing is really top notch. So hopefully you learned a lot of lessons by watching that video. So let's go over a quick summary here, and then I'm going to take some time on your Q&As because I know we're coming up to the end. So I'm going to finish this, and then I will stick around and answer those questions that we need to. Quick summary of this. Don't edit everything. I've said it once. I've said it 15 times on this. Don't edit everything. Be intentional as to why I'm doing this and when are the opportunities that I'm choosing to add some of these places. Call to action. Use them to create conversations, create next steps. People watching our video is not the win. It's watching the video, connecting to us, and taking the next step that we need them to create and further this conversation for business, right? Always keep that in mind. Animated preview will get you higher video play rates if you let that animated preview run, that 3-second kind of looping thing. So don't mess with that most of the time. If you want to use the thumbnail, be intentional with what you're doing there. Video privacy, just make sure your videos are staying in the right hands. Keep it in the hands of the people that need to see this. And then the video trimming, use it to prevent re-recording a video. So I'm so excited. I was fingers crossed. I was hoping that the new trimming content would be out now so I could show it all to you and you would all have it live in. But of course, like anything new, it takes a little bit longer. We run into some hiccups where we're fixing some things. We wanted to make it as streamlined as we can before we release it to the wild. So you might be sitting there going, okay, cool. Love these. What's next? Well, be intentional. Don't try and add all of these to all of your videos. Pick one feature and go, where can I use that? Where can I be more intentional on that? I also wanted to give you some links here of if you have questions. For those of you that are new or may not know about this, we have amazing knowledge base with 400 plus articles on all sorts of technical questions that you might have. That's support.bombbomb.com. There's lots of video walkthroughs, there's step-by-step instructions, there's all sorts of things where you can go and search for what you need. And we've got lots of articles talking through that. In fact, I know Justin and Macy have been kind of sharing some articles about the features that we're talking about, the CTAs, the privacy stuff, the security stuff, the trimming. Use those. The other one that I want to show you here is training at bombbomb.com. And I kind of teased this a second ago. This is our on-demand learning center that I built from scratch within the last few years here. We have specific feature courses on the features we've been talking about. If you want a quick 10 to 15 minute walkthrough of why this is good, when's it impactful, how do I use it, you can literally come and do the call to action one. We've got stuff for the Chrome extension, for our contacts tab, our mobile app, our insights. We've got getting started courses here. We've got best practices and strategy courses here. You can access this directly within your account. If you come up here, you can choose BombBomb Studios. And BombBomb Studios is a great place for you to come to learn deeper, to expand your knowledge and grow, just like what these webinars are doing here. So make sure you keep both of those as resources. And the last thing I want to cover before I start answering these questions, because I know people are dropping off at the top of the hour here. Next month, we host these webinars every month. I think I saw somebody saying, when's the next one? I love these. When can I do more? Every month, it's usually a Wednesday at this time. Usually about the third week of the month is pretty consistent. Next April, here's our topic. Lights, camera, comfort, building a safe haven for video recording. We are going to cover technical stuff, which we don't talk about a lot. But if I want to have a good, safe place to record, what cameras can I look at? What lighting do I need? What are best practices as far as microphones and things like that? We're going to cover that and talk about what to look for if you're exploring some of these things, right? We're also going to use that in building the comfort on camera. We're going to talk about some of the psychological aspects of what creates that hesitancy and how some of the technical setup can help us be more confident to record more, to build more connections and do those sort of things. So this link is already live on bombbomb.com/webinars. If you're interested in that, hop to bombbomb.com/webinars. Look for it. It'll be the top one that you'll see up there. You can sign up now. Otherwise, we'll be sending out our standard emails that we send out to everybody as well. So if you have to jump, thank you, thank you, thank you. I know it was a lot of Kevin talking today as the solo host, but hopefully this taught you something new. Maybe it expanded your knowledge of something you already knew, but it gave you a new way to start strategizing as we're getting into the spring and summer here of how you can start integrating video in different ways, editing your videos and doing some different things there. Please join us next month. Reach out to us. We want to see you as much as possible, but thank you for being here today. The BombBomb family means the world to us. We cannot thank you enough for being a part of this. Whether you've joined for a membership, whether you're just here for the webinar, it doesn't matter. We love having you here. We care so deeply about our clients and the people that join us. So it means the world to us to have here. Macy and Justin, I'm going to give you a quick thank you, and then we're going to jump into some Q&A stuff and see kind of what we're seeing. I just want to throw this out there. Macy and Justin have answered 70 questions in this webinar. So they are killing it on top of all the chats and things that they're throwing out there. Thank you for all the nice chats and the thank you. This is awesome. I learned tons. It means the world to me that you guys are learning stuff. So let me look back here through some of these questions. Ooh, Erica, you put one and then told me I just answered it. So great. That was the easiest question I've had to answer live in a long time. So awesome. Thank you. Will you be promoting this tool? An anonymous person asked. I assume that's about the trimming content as we release that. Yes, we will. We're going to do a soft release. Well, you'll all have it in your accounts. And then we're going to do some promotion in the next month or two as well. Spoiler, we've got some more really cool new things coming out that are going to play into this. And I promise you, we will be promoting all of this so you won't miss it. Can we get a copy of this chat to read later? Raymond, that's a great question. I'll have to look. I know I can get that through Zoom, but I'm not sure from a security and privacy standpoint if I'm allowed to or not. So let me look into that and make sure that I'm not sharing anything that I shouldn't be sharing and explore that. If there was something specific, Raymond, that you wanted to know, I know you asked this question 30 minutes ago, so you may not even be here anymore or have that. But if there was a specific question, please feel free to throw that in as well. Is the Evergreen Webinar Thank You tab you showed briefly a web page used to share that video? It is. So the video page is the actual landing page that the video plays on. So that's one of the things that BombBomb does in order to make sure that we're giving you the best deliverability. And Larry, you asked this. I know you asked a little while ago, so you might not be here either. But when they play a video, we put a preview in the email that links to the video page. And we do that so that it keeps the files really small. It abides with the new sending and deliverability best practices that we have to abide by from Gmail and Yahoo and Outlook and all of them. And it allows this stuff to deliver quickly, get through spam filters, get through a lot of the algorithms that would normally go, wait a second, I don't like this. But then they play it on your video page and they have that full experience with the call to actions, your logo, the reactions that they can do there as well. So yes, to answer that question there, Larry. I'm going to go down. Will you be sending out a copy of this webinar? Absolutely, Diana. Yes. We will send out a recording of this in the next few days here. Give us 2 or 3 days, but you'll see it come through. I usually will put the slide deck up there as well in PDF form so you can look at those and just kind of review that, and it will have the full recording. We also, for those of you that are still here, we always put our recordings on our YouTube channel. So if you go to YouTube, search BombBomb, you can find all of our old webinars. You can find all of that content on there. So you can always see that stuff on our YouTube channel as well. So thanks for answering or for asking that. Please repeat where to find the link for the webinar registration. Absolutely. You know what? Let's just go here and I'm going to type it in and I'm going to grab that link because, of course, that was the one that I did not share with Justin and Macy. So let me grab this. And we've got some amazing coworkers here that have already got all of this live. Here is the link right here for if you want to sign up for April's webinar. So that's the one where we're going to talk through the tech stuff, the psychology, the comfort on camera. So anybody that's here, I may not have shared that with everyone that I needed to. Hold on, let me share that again, because I think I just shared it with the panelists. All right, there we go. Now everyone should be able to see it. So if you want to sign up for that, click on that link, get signed up. You know I love having you here. And we'll most likely bring a guest host on as well to kind of talk through that. So, man, I think we've covered them all. I have to give a huge thank you to Macy and Justin. 73 questions answered. Actually, there was more than that, almost 90 questions answered and dealt with. Thank you both for being here. Thank you for supporting our clients. I also love having them on there so that you guys can see the people that you reach out to and support are real people, and they're amazing people that care so deeply about all of you. So if you have any questions, please reach out. We're always here to help. Otherwise, thank you, thank you, thank you. It means the world to me that you're here. Like I said before, I can't really thank you enough. I don't think there's a way for us to really be able to show you our appreciation for what you bring to BombBomb and how you help us and how you love on us and give us so much life on a regular basis. So let's go ahead and finish this out with some music at the end of this webinar. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Have a great Wednesday. Enjoy spring, and we'll see you next week. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you.